your online business progress is very slow and you're wondering, why am I slow? Why your blog is growing even when your bank account says zero. Author of these two books, the Second Incomes book for affiliate marketing and the freelancing book, Virtual Careers. I've been teaching people how to do this online thing for about 18 years. This small document I have, which contains PayPal payments to me, both from clients, direct clients, and some US dollars from affiliate income, contains the last 1 year only. This is how I track physically the money that I have earned from online. If you don't have one of these, then maybe you should get one. If you're listening to this and you want that kind of result, then congratulations, you have found the right video. It is going to be slower than the usual video because this is the problem. Your progress is slow and you're complaining. We expect things to be very fast. You went to education for 12 years plus 4 years. When you graduate, oh, wow, all my waiting for stuff is I've already graduated. So now I can enjoy life and do things faster. And that's very true. When I asked the AI, tell me about things that people do nowadays that take a long time, it was struggling. It couldn't find much. It's like we're applying for work that takes a few months, and sometimes you're already working somewhere and you get hired somewhere else. There is no wait period. We're very used to short delays. I was able to get this from the AI, which is a list of things that are non-negotiable for people after they graduate. Like if you make a baby, the pregnancy must be 9 months. If your parents, you have purchased braces for your kids, for yourself, then it has to be 3 years. You cannot force it to be 3 months. If you pay off a car, normally 5 years. If you pay off a house, 30 years, 10 years, depending on the price. But outside of this, our delays are like hours, minutes, seconds. When you click on a cell phone, it has to respond within the second that you did the flick or the click. You cannot spend 5 minutes responding to your click. We're so used to that. And that's why when it comes to online business, our brains, we don't know the number, right? It's 9 months, you're a failure. And then we're bombarded by these YouTube videos that show us that, hey, I earned money doing nothing. See, and we believe them. That's the problem there. When we think we're done with the long term because we've already graduated, we're wrong. Online business is much like these objects I've shown you. And to be fair, we have a better comparison, and it's like planting food. When you plant pechay, those small things, lettuce, I think, takes about a month for it to grow from seed to actual plant, then you can eat it. 1 month. If you decide to plant watermelon, the wait time is 3 months. If you decide to raise hogs, pigs, you'll have to wait at least 6 months from small to big before you can sell them. 6 months. And I'm surprised by this. If you want to grow pineapples, maybe 2 years wait. Now think about it this way. If you decide you're going to live in the province and not work and just plant and go to gardening, you will have to plant all sorts of things because you cannot wait 1 month to just eat something like chai. And then you have to wait 3 months before you can eat watermelon. If you plant mongo, you have bean sprouts after 1 day and you can cook it immediately. You cannot eat bean sprouts every day until you reach 30 days and then you can eat lettuce. The point I'm making here, you need to strictly observe the number of months these things grow. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You cannot force these things. In looking for an example for today, I decided to show you an onion. This is a real onion. You can grow an onion at home. And guess how long it takes to grow an onion so you can harvest the leaves. You have to cut the onion a certain way so you can put it in a jar like this. And there's a toothpick and you balance it and there's water reaching up to the small roots. On day 4, this is what happens. The roots will grow. On day 9, now the top is now starting to grow. Magic, right? And then after a few days, you have day 12, now have these shoots. You're not going to harvest them yet because you have to wait for day 16. So it becomes very long. You have one batch of these greens that you can eat, garnish, whatever, and then they will start growing again. Depending on the size of your onion, you can get up to 2 growths from this onion. Half of the onion, you blend it with ginger and some oil, and it's very delicious. People in YouTube, they call this the infinite onion glitch because they think that small thing will give you an infinite amount of onion. And the only input you have is a glass of water. How many days does it take for the whole process from beginning to end? It's 20 days. It's very clear, you know, that this process, non-negotiable, you will have to wait almost 3 weeks before you can harvest your greens. Between waiting for 3 weeks and going to the grocery and buying the greens, which one are you going to do? That waiting for 20 days is probably fine because you're not desperate to eat it. Lesson here is it takes 20 days and there's nothing you can do about it. And I'm showing this to you because after watching this, why don't you try it? Why don't you do this at home? Let's imagine the 20 days is 20 months. On day 4, that's month 4, you cannot see any of this growth. This happens on month 9. Month 4 is when the roots start growing. And the problem there is you find the whole thing slow because when you plant plants, you never see the roots growing because it's all underground. And that's why you say, this thing is so slow. There's no progress. My bank account is 0 and it's 9 months. That's because on month 9, the sprouts are just starting. And an online business is not an onion planting activity. Yes, it needs to grow roots longer than you would expect, longer than what people normally expect. And of course, we know our expectations are much lower than 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or 2 years. It has to be enough time for the roots to grow, but never 9 months. Do not ever believe the YouTube videos that tell you in 30 days I was able to make $1 million because they're totally lying. We're done with planting food. Hope this experience will help you see there is a fixed amount of time, and it depends if you're doing the growing every day. Remember, when you plant something, it will grow every day. It either dies or grows. It depends. So that's the lesson we must learn from the plants. Give it the time it needs to grow. Now, wait lang, I have to show you something. Believe it or not, I'm actually finished. But anyway, what must you do? You will not become impatient with your online business. What should you do? The correct answer would be to put in activities all the time and do not stop.
You show up every day. You put in the hours, you do the work, you're trying to break through that plateau, moving from amateur to professional. But why does it feel like you're just spinning your wheels? You put in more and more effort, but you're just not going anywhere. It's a feeling that haunts so many projects, that sense that no matter what you do, the needle just refuses to move. You're stuck. Well, there's a name for this place you're in. It's called the plateau of half effort. It's that messy middle where all your hard work just seems to vanish into thin air, totally disconnected from any real, tangible progress. And it's a trap. You find yourself stuck in this weird purgatory of being busy but never actually being productive. You're doing just enough to justify not quitting, but you're definitely not doing enough to actually win. The reason you're stuck there has nothing to do with your talent or your potential. No. It's a series of hidden psychological traps inside your own brain that are keeping your effort dialed down to 50%. The first one is cognitive dissonance. This is that internal battle you feel. On one hand, you feel guilty because you know you're not fully committing. But on the other hand, the slow progress you're seeing confirms your deepest fear. See, this doesn't work. Good thing I didn't try any harder. It's a nasty, self-sabotaging loop. Then there's the sunk cost fallacy. You've already poured months, maybe even years into this thing. Quitting now would feel like a total waste. But the thought of doubling down is terrifying. What if you go all in and you still fail? So you don't do either. You just float. And here's the most frustrating trap of all: the plateau of latent potential. This means you might be right on the edge of a huge breakthrough. But because the results aren't visible yet, you can't see the finish line. Your brain tells you, hey, let's just coast and save some energy. But wait. What if the very rules of the game you think you're playing are completely wrong? This is the one insight that changes everything. We have to completely rethink how results are actually made. Let this one sink in for a second. In the digital economy, half effort doesn't yield half results. It yields zero results. The world doesn't reward pretty good or almost there. It rewards finished, excellent, complete. Your 50% effort isn't getting you halfway to the finish line. It's keeping you stuck at the starting block forever. And this explains exactly why. It's called the law of nonlinear returns. For most of the time, maybe 80% of your journey, your progress looks like a flat line. Nothing's happening. But that's when you're building potential. And then once you finally cross a certain quality threshold, bam, you get this massive exponential spike in results. They don't trickle in, they flood in all at once.
The big question is, how do you find the energy to push through that long, flat line when the big reward feels a million miles away? Simple. You start creating your own small rewards.
And here's how you do it. You shrink the map. Forget the giant, overwhelming end goal. Forget the 2-year plan. Your entire universe has to shrink down to what you can get done right now, today, in this hour. We're not talking about climbing a mountain here. We're talking about tasks that are so easy to start, they feel like basic maintenance. Think of it like brushing your teeth. You just do it. These are simple, repeatable tasks that build momentum without draining all your willpower.
First up are the audit wins. These are just basic maintenance. Find and fix 3 broken links on your site. Pull out your phone and check how your top 3 posts look. Look at your affiliate dashboards and see if any products are discontinued. This is like cleaning your desk before you start working. It prepares you for the real stuff.
Next, you need some content wins to keep things from getting stale. You don't have to write some 10,000-word masterpiece. Just add one new image to an old post, tweak the headline of your worst performing article. The goal is just to add 500 new words to your site this month. That's it. You're just proving to yourself that this project is still alive.
What? A competitor? Yes, and these are the networking wins. Respond to one comment, give a peer some helpful feedback, and yeah, identify one thing a competitor is doing better than you. Professionals aren't afraid of competition, they learn from it. These tasks reconnect you to the outside world, reminding you you're not building this thing in a vacuum.
And finally, the data wins. These keep you connected to the pulse of your project. Find one new keyword that you're starting to rank for. Figure out which single link made you the most sales last month, and maybe the most satisfying one. Clear out that drafts folder. Make space for new, better ideas.
When you get down to it, all of these tiny micro wins are designed to do one thing: help you make that crucial mental shift from being an amateur to becoming a professional.
The difference is stark. The amateur only works when they feel inspired. The professional works on a schedule, period. The amateur sees failure as a stop sign. The professional sees it as useful data. But here's the real kicker. The amateur gives 50% effort just to test the waters, while the professional gives 100% because they find the reward in the work itself. And this brings us to the question of radical honesty. You have to ask yourself this. If I continue at 50% for the next 4 months, will I be proud of the person I become, regardless of the money? Suddenly, success isn't about the outcome. It's about your character. It's about your commitment.
So, back to that first question. Why does your effort feel completely wasted? The answer is your half effort isn't just slowing you down. It is keeping you permanently stuck just below that critical quality threshold where all the results become visible. You aren't halfway to the prize, you are infinitely far away from it.
Your very next move is what defines you. The choice isn't between slow progress and fast progress. It's between zero progress and all of it. Will you remain the amateur, or will you become the professional?
Thank you so much. Thank you for listening to that one. And let's review the whole thing. This is called the Manifesto for the Messy Middle. How did you like the video? Let's go through it using my style. Today is the pivot point, and I'm showing to you the manifesto when you're in the messy middle, when you feel that your progress in online business is slow. And that's because you are in the purgatory of the busy. You are working, but you're not moving according to your opinion. You're experiencing fatigue, doing some effort. Let's say every 2 weeks, you put a blog post in 300 words, and then you forget about it. And there's no dopamine because when you look at it, nobody's looking at it. When you share it in social, nobody's clicking, nobody's asking you comments. You're now experiencing guilt of half measures. You're doing some effort, but not 100%. You're trying to create a post, but sometimes you don't, you forget. So they call it coasting. And there's a gap between what you said you were going to do in the past and what you're actually doing. And you're drifting away from what you just said. And this is called confusion. The technical term is cognitive dissonance. So it's a mental friction caused when you say, I can do that. I am better than that. But your actions say, I'm afraid to do that. But you say you can do that, but you're not doing it. So at this point, you've already spent so much money, effort, belief, reading books, watching videos that you can say, I can't stop because I invested so much. This is called the sunk cost. The cost has been sunk and you've already spent the money. And then if you haven't seen a win, but you're still afraid to try harder. So you're protecting yourself from failing by saying, let's pause for a while. It's Christmas. Let's take a vacation. You just keep stopping. But here is the reality when it comes to online business. The onion does not grow in the first 6 months. There is a time called nonlinear returns that it just grows silently, the roots grow silently, and then it shoots up in an exponential spike. This is how an online business works. You must embrace that when you started an online business, this is how it works. The 30-day miracle of millionaires does not exist. If you are still listening, you have to embrace that if you do half effort, I made a blog, it's there, it's empty. You give zero results. You did a 50%, you're expecting some sort of return. No, the online business, it gives you zero returns. You go 90%, still haven't finished the blog. So that's a half effort or 90% effort in your brain. Online business will give you zero result. What I can advise here is that do not try to grow the blog, do not grow the YouTube. You must try to grow your momentum, your workflow, and your schedule. How does that work? When you create something online, what you need to say to yourself is something like this. In the last 30 minutes of creating something for my online business, I was able to do X. Next week, you should be able to say something like this. The week after, in the last 30 minutes, I was able to do X, Y, and I added to the things I can do in 30 minutes. On the third week, you should be able to say, in the 30 minutes that I did for my website, my YouTube, for my social media, I was able to do A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z. 7 new things on the third week. What did we just build? 30 minutes a week, better workflow. That is the thing you're supposed to grow. Not the online presence, not the likes, not the comments. Inside those 30 minutes, must continue to improve, must continue to be faster, must continue to create more output in the same amount of time. To demonstrate, this is my third video that is not 1 minute long. And for every video that I make, I produce 20 to 30 shorts, which I post throughout the week. That's all because I have a 1-hour workflow that's able to produce that. I meant the 30 videos. To produce this video tonight, my workflow is I prepare every day. I only spent like an hour today because I prepare every day. It's not something new that I do. That's the zero result. Online business or any business will reward you only for 100% complete. The solution here is stop thinking you're an amateur. Stop saying that. You have to put in the brain of I am a professional. Just say it. If I'm a professional, I schedule my work. If I fail in any way, let's say you try to grow the onion and then it rots, which is what happens when you grow onions at home. The bulok, you throw it away. You don't say, I have to stop growing onions. Instead, you need to grow 5 onions at the same time. So you know what works. Failure is data. Okay, God tells me I should stop. Okay, that's not it. A professional, the effort is always, I'm going to go for complete because the reward is in completing. It's not gaining money. Because remember, this thing doesn't gain money immediately. It takes a while. Just like this takes 20 days to grow. The timeline for an amateur is you want results now, but the professional plays the long game. You should Look at this video that you're staring at today and think about it. Why is this dude doing a video where there are only 15 views? Why? Because I'm perfecting the workflow, the process. A video, especially if you put it in TikTok and YouTube, it lasts for years. What is important is this video will last for years and it will serve me, it will make money for me for many, many years. I don't want results now. The result is this video. That's the result. If you're a professional, you use a schedule. You don't use inspiration. I'm inspired to do something today. I'm going to do that. You just use a schedule. You say, I only have Friday evening. Go ahead, work only on Friday evening. If you fail, there's data. And then you use the virtue, the Catholic virtue of fortitude. These are the Catholic words. We don't use grit because we are Catholics. This is a virtue wherein we rely on God to give us the grace to be strong. No, I cannot do it. I'm the lowest of you all. I'm literally the lowest of you all. However, I have grace and fortitude. I'm fine. You should hopefully relate more to me than most of your gurus today, because now here's the solution. If you want to do something, is forget about what you're going to do in 4 months. Forget about what you're going to do in 1 year. Just think about what is the task that you need to do in 7 days. And if you have zero time, you say, my time is so wasted, I'm so busy, then try looking for micro wins. And usually that is not $1. A micro win is to at least, for example, you have a blog. Look at your blog on your phone, because I neglect that. I only look at it from the computer. And you might say, wow, my blogs look so bad on my phone. Every week you fix your blog so it looks better on the phone. Next month, you click on the links of your website to see if the links work. That's your job. So getting a $100,000 client is not a micro win. You will just fail. If you continue in the path that you've taken, doing half efforts, going slow, not showing up in my Zooms that you paid for, or even the Zooms that I give out for free, you don't show up because you're too busy, whatever. You don't even go to the replays of my 2-hour Zoom that I condensed to 45 minutes. You didn't even show up for that. After you've done all of that for 10 years, will you be proud of the person that you have become? Because most of my success gurus from the modernist world, from the modern world, the non-Catholic world, they emphasize this. Because even though they're not Catholics, they do speak the truth sometimes. The process of doing an online business has mostly to do with what kind of person you will become and not how much money you will earn. That's the final pivot point. Now, it might be hard for a lot of people to comprehend. Doing this work, the online business, is a reward. This is another way of saying success is your journey. Stop waiting for this final, wow, exponential growth. It will happen. It may not happen. Enjoy this part. Become a better person in this part. Rely on God more in this part. And in this part, when everything is flat and there's no progress, you will do what is necessary. Improve your workflow. Ask for graces so that you'll be able to schedule the time that I have. It's not enough. My message for today, I'm going to give it to my private group. It's PFM. My private group is called Profitable Funnels Mentoring, and the second part is for them. So I can't show it to you, but I can show you something. Let me show you. Did you see it? I don't know if you heard it. So this is my private mentoring group, and I will quickly show you what I'm going to show them, which is the second part of that, which is how do you progress? What are the steps, literally, what are the steps you're going to take so that you can do some micro wins in your project? This will only apply, number one, if you already have an online presence that you're trying to grow, a YouTube channel, a blog. If you don't have, then what are you trying to grow? You have to be trying to grow something online, right? So here are the slides. The specifics will be there in the course itself, PFM. Let me just show you the slides. This is technical, by the way. We're going to go to Google Search Console and dig up that one and look at impressions, then look at, and there's this graph here that shows you what average position really means. And then tracking your own position for your website, and then looking at the engagement of your own website and how to measure engagement. This is going to be part of next session happening Thursday next week. So if you want to learn more about this, I'm going to give you guys a special offer. PFM is normally 26,000 pesos, but I can let you in on 1 month, which is about 4 sessions for a very small fee. This is the technical lesson that we're going to tackle in PFM. And this is what I told you about, the law of the harvest, the plants. You need to grow in your roots. But the PFM session is not just these slides. We're going to go deeper into the technicals as well. How does it work? This is 26K for 16 months. I can let you in 1 month to take a look at the lessons for that month alone. You can join us live Thursday night. You can access the recordings as well. Good for a month. Normally, a month for PFM is 2,000 pesos. That's monthly. For those who are listening here, you can join us until Thursday, January next week. You can join us for 1 whole month for 1,000 pesos only, so that you can learn for 4 weeks. This PFM is technical. If you don't have a website, you can ask me how to create a website. I will make the website for you, the WordPress. You just have to buy the domain, buy the WordPress. And then in the next 4 weeks, inside PFM, you get to learn all these technical things that I said here. There is no link yet. There's no link yet. You just have to stay tuned for the link. You need to be subscribed to my newsletter so you can get the link to the 1,000. You can also use my Gcash, okay, which is already public in the internet if you want to use my Gcash. But if you haven't been subscribed yet, you need to go subscribe to my newsletter first so you can get the link. Okay, this is the newsletter link. This is for people who are interested in joining that PFM course for 1 month. So instead of 26,000, 16 months, instead of 2,000 for 1 month, you're getting it at 50%, 1,000 for 1 month, every Thursday session. And you go deeper into how to grow your online presence, the technicals and the mindset as well. Just a note, we do a ton of Catholic teaching inside PFM. We start with the prayer and go deeper into the prayer. Why is the prayer like that? What's the point? Why do you need to pray that time? So this is the subscription to my email newsletter. Make sure you're signed up if you're not yet signed up.